Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Reporter's Notebook. For those of you who've never watched Reporter's Notebook before, it's a really fun segment we get to do here at WNCT, where sort of towards the end of our work days, we get to bring some of our coworkers in here to the digital studio and dive a little deeper into the stories that they got to cover today and kind of talk about what it's like to be a news reporter, work here at WNCT in general. So today I am joined here in the studio by Miss Madison Forsey.
Hi, Emily. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, doing well.
Got our summer colors on, our summer dresses on.
I know. We are very, very summery today.
It's the perfect weather for it today, too. I was trying to eat my lunch outside, and I was like, it's a little too hot to even be eating this right now.
We've reached the threshold where if I'm not by a pool, I'm not going outside. Sorry, it's just not happening.
I totally feel that. So you had a story today. You got to go outside a little bit. You also had your shadowing, or you having someone shadow you, today. So how's that going? Talk to me a little bit about, the process of someone shadowing for those who don't know what that is.
Yes. So we have a brand new reporter, Erin Jenkins. I don't know if she's been on a Reporter's Notebook yet, but I'm sure she will be.
Very soon. Very soon.
There we go. But she's our newest reporter. And so she's kind of trying to learn the ropes. And something that I think is the most difficult part of this job is probably with any job is just time management, figuring out, how late can you get an interview?
Yes.
If someone calls you back and says, hey, I can talk to you at 3, you might be pushing it to make that 5 o'clock deadline. And that's something that you just figure out over time. So I find that the best training method is to go out, take a new reporter. I do my thing, get the B-roll, and she watches me, take video and ask questions and the setup of the kind of shots that you need to get. And then I also, while I'm putting together what I'm going to report for the show, she's also putting together her own version. So she can kind of walk through the time management of it. How long does it take her to write a script? How long does it take her to log? Whatever the day entails. So that's I think the hardest part, one of the hardest parts of the job, and she's getting it down. So.
Awesome. Yeah, that was, one of the most helpful things for me. Just getting in there and watching someone else go through their daily process is so helpful. And like Madison said, you guys will definitely see Erin here on Reporter's Notebook in no time, probably by the end of the week. So be looking out for that so we can introduce our awesome new reporter to you guys. But let's go ahead and get into the story that you covered today and that Erin helped go out with you for. So what did you get to cover today?
Yeah, so Lenore County Public Schools hosted a group to come and talk to some of their students during summer school. So it was students from across Lenore County, but a representative from UN50 came, and this person created this organization. She's a retired police executive in Durham. So she's been a police officer. I can't remember the amount of time, but that was her first career was in Durham at their police station. And so her whole mission and her whole goal is to help kids safely interact with police officers. We've seen a lot of videos. I think it's obviously, we know that it's been happening in these communities for a long time, but we've just seen more and more videos since the George Floyd video came out of interactions between people and police officers that just, things get lost in communication. It's a little hostile, it's stressed. And so she wants to teach these kids, what are your rights? What do you actually have the ability to say yes and no to, how you should say it. So that way, if there is something there that, maybe that officer is not acting within protocol, the person that they're interacting with is within their rights, the things that they're doing can stand up in court. But if the officer is acting within protocol, it's still a good interaction too. It's all about minimizing the hurt that we've seen in a lot of those videos and the hurt that those communities have experienced. So kind of an extension of the talk that a lot of Black and brown families have every day.
Definitely. And I've seen a lot of, counties in the area, cities and towns in the area doing similar programs where, they're bringing kids in the community to these programs to do events and fun activities like, going outside and playing baseball or going to get ice cream with officers. And like you said, trying to build that positive relationship at a young age. So But I really love how I haven't heard of a group doing, this in depth, teaching these kids what your rights are. And that is such a big aspect, such a big part of this. That's
absolutely
awesome.
And basically telling them you don't have to consent to a search, but if you're in your car, an officer stops you and asks you to get out of the car, you should comply. Compliance is always key. Even if you know that you aren't in the wrong, it's going to hold up in court and things are going to get sorted out down the road. The biggest thing is your safety and not escalating a situation. And that's one of their whole points is everyone wants to go home. The police officer wants to go home at the end of the night. You want to go home at the end of the night. So compliance is key in that, to kind of helping those relationships along and helping people understand each other, because everyone is just an individual. And that was one of the first things that the presenter asked the kids was, do you think cops are bad? And one of the high schoolers raised her hand and said, I don't think cops are bad. I think the system is bad. So also kind of trying to break that relationship down, understanding that each police officer is an individual with individual actions as well. So it was cool. And it was cool to hear from high schoolers, thinking critically about that kind of thing and sharing real stories and real interactions that have happened to them.
Definitely. And you said this was an event that happened today. So is this a one-time kind of presentation, or are they going to continue this on?
So UN50, the organization itself and the presenter, she travels wherever need be. So if it's something that a school wants to bring in, they totally can. They did the presentation, I think, with some middle schoolers yesterday, and they've been doing it with high schoolers all day today. So if there's a community organization, school out there that wants that kind of lesson for their kids, they can reach out to the organizer, and it can happen at your school, and you guys can put on that program and learn a little bit more.
Wow, I think that's so great. And again, I've heard so many programs similar to this, but not going so in depth as to really, not just have fun activities and go out and, have a good time, but to have those really hard conversations sometimes is so important too, in teaching these kids, like you said, their rights such an early age to be able to build on those relationships, I think is so important. And what this woman is doing is phenomenal. I think this is amazing. So Thank you so much, Madison, for taking the time to talk about this story. I think this is great. And like you said, if there's any schools or organizations who are interested in something similar, this woman does, travel to give these presentations. You can find more information about this on our website at WNCT.com, along with more information about Madison's story today. So again, thank you so much, Madison. I hope we can get out and enjoy this beautiful weather a little bit more later today.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes. And then, of course, our 4th of July weekend. Do you have any big plans going on this weekend for 4th of July?
I'm working every weekend. So finding the silver lining of working on a holiday is one of the challenges of this job. But I think, we could maybe do some hot dogs, some hamburgers, get a little red, white, and blue cake, something like that, on our dinner break or something.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, definitely. Well, again, thank you so much, Madison. We hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. Get out there and enjoy this gorgeous weather, and we'll see you guys next time on another edition of Reporter's Notebook.